Well, I just wanted to thank everyone for the organizers for the opportunity to speak today about what is my favorite topic, which is obviously SpeeDx. Obviously, I've had to give versions of this speech in fairly condensed formats. So the ability to have, I guess, a little bit of time to sort of talk more about the experience of the journey of SpeeDx is really great. So I do thank you for the opportunity. And I guess for those of you that don't know, SpeeDx is an Australian molecular diagnostic company. We're based here in sunny Sydney. And we do have definitely the nicest harbor of anywhere. Sorry, Ray, I know the Bay Area does try to claim that, but I'm sorry to say it is Sydney every time. So it does present some significant challenges being here in Australia, even though it is so beautiful. And I wanted to talk to you, I guess, a little bit about how you grow or are experiencing growing an Australian diagnostic company into global markets, which does present significant challenges. Probably number one of which is indeed funding. Really, I guess to start the journey, I wanted to talk to you through the development of the company. So more from a historical development of how we've gone on our journey. But just to start off, as with all good startups, we of course started with our mission, and our mission, as I'm sure many of you also have, may sound slightly altruistic and slightly generic, but really this has driven everything that we've done within SpeeDx. And I think from a startup company, I think it does really focus you in doing in putting your resources into where they really make a difference. And I guess the few words in this that we really have focused on over the years is improving patient outcomes. And I think that to us really has been the three words that we really have focused on in all of our development work. So give you a little bit of scope on who we are as a company. We are, as I mentioned, an Australian company, but we do come with roots from large beginnings. So we were originally, I guess, spun out is probably not the right word, but we rose from the ashes of what was a Johnson & Johnson research facility that was based here in Sydney. And I guess during the last major financial crisis, SpeeDx was born. So two founders, Alison Todd and Elisa Makani, were researchers within the diagnostic division of that research group. And again, somehow managed to raise money to fund the startup of the company. They had developed some fairly transformational technology, which I'll talk you through. But ultimately, they were able to raise the requisite funding to spin the company out, and ultimately also were able to negotiate with Johnson & Johnson to sign all of the IP that they had developed over nearly 20 years at Johnson & Johnson into SpeeDx, which was a massive achievement, and ultimately has given us the start we needed to get to where we are today. I guess it's a story of two companies. Obviously, we started our journey, I think, as I'll show you, as a small company with only 4 people and obviously limited resources, and licensing was the model that we adopted. Biocartis, who I'll talk a little bit about, was the first partner that we started working with, and ultimately we provided them through a deal that we'll speak about with essentially the technology they needed to develop what I think is pretty much a game changer when it comes to precision medicine in oncology, and obviously gave us a very strong indication that our technology was truly applicable into that clinical diagnostic space. From 2014 onwards and to where we are today, we've shifted our focus to a product company. And if you want to substitute product with high cash burn, I think that is probably a very good sort of way to think about being a product company, because when you look at the capital necessary to create products and even to get one onto the market from any type of a background, what we've seen is you definitely need to have access to capital. We've seen a rapid growth in every part of the company, from our research and development, our production, to all the way through to our commercial teams, and then obviously the administration that supports all of it. And again, you know, without the capital and without the access to, I guess, believers in what we're doing and the technology that ultimately, well, the team and the technology that ultimately underpins this, we wouldn't be where we are today. What we've seen is now obviously this success, and again, this is probably cheesy to say, but you know, we are an overnight success that has taken ultimately 11 years to get here. And I would say probably 11 years is potentially quick when it comes to developing you know, a global diagnostic company. So I wanted to give you a little scope of who we are today before I start bringing you through to where we've come from. And who we are today is we are truly international. We have our head office based here in Sydney, which has most of our R&D facilities, our production, our QC, our regulatory, and our some of our administration functions. We also have a European office, which is a commercial office, so it has sales and application support. We do have, we did incorporate in the US, and we do have support functions for the commercial activities that we have going on over there. We are, in terms of our team, I'll make one disclaimer that all of the pictures that you see here were taken before the coronavirus pandemic. So if you view us as not following social distancing, that this is pre-corona. So please before you make any comments, please just take all photos are pre-corona. That's what I would just like to make that disclaimer. But we are a very diverse group of people, which I think ultimately has helped us succeed. Of the 92 staff that we have today, we have, I think, 24 countries that are represented across those 92 staff. You can see we have a very diverse group. You know, we do have comments often that perhaps the reason we are so successful is we are 70% female and only 30% male. So that has been a common sort of observation about our company. But I think ultimately it's neither here nor there. We do hire the best people, and I think that's why we've been able to get to where we are. And again, I think something that I'll talk a little bit about is obviously team has been critical to us getting to where we are today. On the partnership side of things, again, where we are today is we have, you know, taken our humble beginnings and obviously applied it into areas that have addressed significant clinical need. And I think addressing that significant clinical need has obviously resulted in many major, both diagnostic and pharmaceutical companies coming to the realization that we have something that really makes a difference. So LabCorp, as you would know, is one of the largest testing groups in the world and the US. Cepheid obviously is one of the leading companies when it comes to molecular diagnostics and indeed near patient testing. We have a research collaboration with GlaxoSmithKline in supporting their new antibiotic, which is coming through gepotidacin. Again, FDA has looked at our, or has granted our Resistance Plus GC test, which I'll talk a little bit about later, breakthrough status. We've been developing tests that have gone on to influence or to allow the development of new guidelines in treating STIs, which I think is obviously a great indication that we're on the right track. And again, all sort of this came from our initial licensing deal with Biocartis. So as I said, I'd like to sort of take you through the journey as a story. So this is the beginning. As I mentioned, the team of 4. So we have Alison, who is second from the left, and Elisa, who is third from the right. They are the developers of the technology. And as you can imagine, as a small company, taking on the globe as a product developer probably wasn't smart nor possible. But again, licensing as a model, it does create some great avenues to test technology, and it does create some great avenues to demonstrate the power of what you think you have. And I think that's been the real benefit that we have seen in the licensing model, is really we were able to get very early some key data that ultimately has helped us to go on to raise the necessary capital that we needed to get through the various stages of the company. And to talk a little bit about the technology, I think one of the things to mention here is, while this looks like a very simple slide, it's actually probably taken us 11 years to simplify what we do and how we do it. And I guess the real realization that we've had, and this has only been probably within the last few months, is really moving on from the how we do things to really the why does it matter. And I think that from a messaging point of view has been the biggest transition that we've seen in presenting what we do. Is it's not necessarily how we do it. That's obviously important, and obviously many companies have really good technology, but really why does it matter? Why do you need this type of technology? What are you going to apply it into, and what are you going to deliver? So again, like I said, it may seem simple, but this is something that has probably been the hardest thing that we've had to deliver out of anything from my side anyway. If you look at the top technology, that really is the engine of what we have. Really what it delivers and why people care is the multiplexing capacity. Our mutation detection, again, was sort of the linchpin between what we could do on a multiplexing side of thing, and then obviously detecting mutations, which we've now applied into antimicrobial resistance, as well as what we did for Biocartis and oncology. And Insignia is our new technology that we've developed to apply into measuring gene expression, so both in monitoring active bacteria or monitoring live bacteria, but also looking at host response in humans that can also be used in determining viral versus bacterial infections. And I guess I don't want to talk too much about this because obviously this is, we're talking about AMR, and this is related to cancer. But again, I think what really was key was when we started working with Biocartis, who also had links to Johnson & Johnson, and again was an easy way to start our journey as a company because of the established relationships we already had. We were able to take the technology that we had already spent many years validating, apply it into a significant area. Obviously, you have some revenue generation during these deals where obviously upfronts, contract test development is a good way of generating capital without expending massive resources in terms of building commercial teams and things like that. So it really did provide us with that early, well, both the early data and I guess the early cash flow to be able to go on further to do what we're doing. today. And I guess the second part of that is really in demonstrating our technology in oncology, where our partner now is one of the leading options for personalized medicine. It really gave the key demonstration, and I guess this is where investors come in, is they really want to see how the technology is applied in a real way. And if you're a clinical diagnostic company and you're saying what you're going to do, many investors see these presentations all the time. So really getting that early data out there in a clinical sense was key to our development, and obviously allowed us to attract the subsequent investment later on. So I'll skip forward to 2014, when really the decision was made to transition the company from this licensing model into where we are today, which is developing our own products. Obviously, we can see we've decided to, by this stage, reduce the amount of men in the team, which may again have led to the success of why we were doing so well. Obviously, that is a joke. But yeah, we have always maintained a much more female-heavy team than men. But really, this was the beginning of our journey into our own product development. And I guess from a story side of things, the key moment that I think we came to was when we looked to apply our own technology for our own products. Where should we look? And again, clinical need, as I said in the beginning, where can we make the greatest impact for patient outcome? Antimicrobial resistance really was that area. And again, when we talk about getting lucky, one of our key sort of strokes of luck was working with a group in Melbourne who was at the forefront of new clinical algorithms for treating STIs, and putting our technology together with their, I guess, desire for better ways of treating STIs really has set us on the path that we are today, and ultimately has provided us with, the backing that we've needed to raise the capital. And really, it's not a novel idea that we've really taken. This has sort of been well established in other areas within infectious diseases, but within STIs had really never been formalized. Basically, you were testing only to confirm the treatment that you'd been already given. That was in most of the well, if it wasn't in the guidelines, it was in most of the practices in high-income countries. So really what we developed with this group in Melbourne was the concept of resistance-guided therapy, was treating people based on the infection that they had and the genetic markers for resistance that the bacteria contained. And within a very short amount of time, we were able to transition apply our technology into this field and develop a product. And the product we developed was called Resistance Plus MG. And this is a detection assay for Mycoplasma genitalium and 5 azithromycin resistance conferring biomarkers, or SNPs. And what we were able to create there was a test that really went on to address a bigger issue. And the issue was not only that M. genitalium was probably, an under realized STI, but also there was a massive issue in azithromycin resistance across the globe that many researchers were coming to the realization of. This is just the data from a few years ago when we were first looking into this, but obviously azithromycin resistance across the globe has developed significantly, and a need for a better treatment our need for a better clinical pathway was there. So we worked with the group to develop our test. We worked with them to enable this new pathway, and I guess the key piece of data, and I guess the reason I wanted to talk about this is this data really set us on a path that we were able to raise money. So without this sort of clinical demonstration of the power of the test and the power of our technology, really it was just, you know, a whole bunch of hand waving from you know, myself as a salesperson. What you'll see here is obviously there was an issue that the researchers saw within the cure rates of MGEM positive patients here in Australia, in Melbourne, as low as 48% in 2013. So obviously the need for a better way was there. By just simply applying the resistance guided therapy approach, and this was written up in CID in 2019, and modifying their clinical pathway with existing antibiotics, they were able to see an increase in the cure rate from 48% to 95%. Sorry. So this has gone on. This data has gone on to inform new guidelines that have been released both here in Australia, in the UK, across Europe, France, and what we're anticipating also in the US when the new 2020 guidelines come out at some stage, hopefully in the next few months. So I guess what I will move into then is obviously making impacts in the patient side has obviously led us to expand our offering. So we also now are offering in gonococcal resistance. But really what I want to talk about is we've now become a much larger organization. And I guess the capital raising, I guess, is the key sort of point that I wanted to talk about. And again, this is the history of dilutive capital raising that we've had. Obviously, at the beginning, we started as a company that was licensing technology, and as you can see, you need some capital there. But as we've transitioned, as I said, in 2016 to a product company, our need for capital has increased significantly. And if we're going to look at it from a true sense, the need for all capital, so whether it's dilutive or non-dilutive, and the non-dilutive there from the two other sources, you really have to find those sources as quickly as you can. And I think from our side, one of the questions is when do you start the process of fundraising to go towards product development? And I think the answer that we've seen definitely from our experience is I don't think you ever truly stop. So I think you always have to be looking at your next potential funding opportunity, whether that be non-dilutive, whether that be a capital raise. And I think that the thing that I've seen is you know, I've always taken every single potential opportunity to speak to investors. I think now what I've learned out of that is I think potentially there's investors that I think are more savvy towards what we're doing within diagnostics. And again, there's the same types of investors within medical devices and biotech. I think the key is finding those people that truly understand what you're doing and you know, trying to identify them early. But ultimately, I think you do have to take all the meetings that you can possibly get. So really, again, I think we are built for success long term. I think, you know, market altering innovations have been the key to our success. Getting those key KOL endorsements early on really have provided the ability to raise significant capital. And then obviously partnerships, you know, haven't talked about it too much, but partnerships when you're measuring your channel can obviously help with reducing costs if access to capital is difficult. And obviously all this is underpinned by making sure that your IP position is robust and well protected. So I think those are sort of the key takeaways I have. I know it's the end of my time. I've not had 25 minutes to speak before, so I do appreciate you guys indulging me. Thank you.